Good evening, everyone. Again, doing another live post-match reaction. Today, like all of you guys, I watched Luton Town 1, Blackpool United 0. And I'll say right away, a win is a win. It was a game of football that, won't be remembered in T-minus 5 seconds. But at the end of the day, it's 3 points. It gets us back into 7th place. I'm getting the positives off my chest right away. I understand not many people will be watching now. It's Saturday night. You've all got lives. You're out, pub, seeing mates. But, a big hello to everyone that is watching live and a hello to everyone that is watching this on catch-up afterwards when you're not watching the Royal Rumble or out with mates doing stuff. I'm a boring guy. I'm a dad with 2 kids, so I got nothing better to do on a Saturday night rather than sit here, talk about Luton Town Football Club. Huzzah. And 3 wins. Good evening, Ben. Luton Town FC. Not the prettiest, but it's a win. Come on, you hatters. It is indeed. 7th place. And another goal for Jordan Clark. I think that takes him up to 7 for the season, which is great. It really is great. I'm delighted for Jordan Clark. At one point, I was thinking in this game that it was just going to be a 0-0 because Blackpool were defending absolutely tremendously, and it was fairly obvious what they had come for. Blackpool had come for a point because they've been on a little bit of a bad run. I think 1 win in their last 6. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But it was a case of you could see they were defending very deep. And I'll get on to that a little bit later. I'll talk about it. Lots to talk about in this live stream. But before I continue, a reminder, we got the post-match phone-in. That happens Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Hopefully we always have lots of people for that, so that'd be tremendous. On Monday, we are going through from 9 p.m. all the way to when the window slams shut. I have no idea what time it is. To be honest, the window might slam shut 2 hours before we even start the live stream. I remember there was one window that finished at 7 p.m. or something like that. It's weird. I'm used to the window shutting at 11, so you can get those last-minute deal sheets in. But I'll kick this off with, as I always do, running through the team sheet. So it was Keeley in goal, back 4, Joe Johnson left back. Absolutely impressed with his performance today. He's bulked up. He's a tremendous player, and I hope we can keep hold of him. Although if we don't go up, which it's unlikely we will go up. However, I have my reasons for why I think it's unlikely that we'll go up. Next to Joe Johnson, we had Ted and Mengi, tremendous performance from him. We had Mads Anderson, Nigel Longwick. Then I thought it was going to be Jordan Clark playing defensive midfield, but it actually turned out to be Casey Palmer. It was a tremendous performance from him, but we did lack that sort of double pivot in the absence of Liam Walsh. No idea where he is. Hopefully he's ill, because realistically we cannot afford to lose any more players from that deep-lying midfield area. We have lots of bustling, attacking midfielders. Anyway, and then ahead of Casey Palmer, Jordan Clark, Kajua in the middle, Cohen Bramall, who, just quickly on Cohen Bramall, it was a horror challenge. I don't know why we didn't really know what had happened at the time. But he was carried off on a stretcher right in front of me. I sit just above the tunnel, and he looked motionless. He looked in pain, but Jack Wilshere kind of intimated that it wasn't as serious as it looked. There's some bleeding. His ankle's a little hurt, so hopefully he will be back. That is a positive, but hopefully we hear more about that next week. I'm sure he'll go in for a scan and all that. Shaden Morris started on the right, and then we had Naki Wells up top. Right off the bat, I will say from the first half in particular, again, you can see what Jack Wilshere is trying to do. It's that tippy tappy, and I don't mind the tippy tappy. I don't mind it at all, because it is a identity. It's an identity that Luton Town have been lacking for the past 2 seasons, and he's actually brought it in. Do we have the players that can actually play this style of football? I would say no. In the middle third, I was saying this to Dave, who sits next to me. In the middle third, we look comfortable. However, Blackpool were sort of sitting back and not actually affecting us. But when it comes to breaking down a low block, can we do it? No, we really can't. There was a moment, we saw it last game when Jordan Clark broke through the lines and went to cross it in. No one's in the box. There was a moment today where Cohen Bramwell actually got in a position to send in a cross, and the 3 people in the box had an average height of 5'8". So it was Jordan Clark near post, Naki Wells in the middle, and Shaden Morris at the back stick. They're all incredibly short against Land of the Giants at the back for Blackpool. So hopefully with the new signing of Devante Cole, that will give us someone to sort of aim to. Elijah Adebayo being back in full training, maybe that will give us someone to aim to, because essentially when you're crossing in balls and your striker is Naki Wells, you're not going to win any aerials. Essentially, he's always sort of trying to spin the man, and this is not a slight on Naki Wells, but he has not been exactly the most effective or physically dominant of strikers that we've had. I'll talk about Jerry Yates a little bit later as well. Actually, why not? I'll just get out of the way now. Jerry Yates, tremendous performance for Sheffield Wednesday today. 1 big chance missed. Blazed it over the bar when he was through 1-on-1. And he completed 2 passes out of 5 attempted. Good job, Jerry. Very good job. But, you move to an absolutely gigantic club, so absolutely delighted for you. One of the highlights from today was when the Blackpool fans, because obviously Jerry Yates, he sort of made his name at Blackpool, scoring lots of goals, got them promoted to the Championship, and the Blackpool fans chanted to us. The Blackpool fans were absolutely tremendous, by the way, today. It's a shame the Blackpool players couldn't reciprocate the tremendous atmosphere that was being generated by their fans. They sang non-stop, and they said to us at one point, 1-0 up and you still don't sing. Well, we watched a lot of football. Although our performances at Kenilworth Road haven't been great, this was our 9th in a row unbeaten. But we've been through the ringer as Luton Town fans. We know, unless we're like, well, in the cases, sometimes when we're 3-0 up, it doesn't make a difference. We can still, draw a game or lose a game. Thinking back to that Bournemouth one in the Premier League. So 1-0 is a very shaky scoreline. So yeah, everyone was on edge. So they sang to us. Jerry Yates. Well, he was late in the box. Jerry Yates, he left because you're shit. And then we sang back to them. Jerry Yates, he left because he's shit. And in all fairness, that is a massive failing in our recruitment. The fact that we've signed someone for a significant fee and he has left less than 6 months later. Absolutely atrocious stuff. But I guess that was addressed in the program notes, which I can actually discuss if people want to, if people want me to do that. So going back to the game, this was a Blackpool team that really weren't threatening, and to be honest, until the goal happened, that's when they sort of actually had some impetus. But other than a penalty shout that, in my opinion, was a penalty, I sit right in front of that, so I saw it, and Niall Ennis was actually brought down, and the Blackpool players were well within their right to question the referee. I thought the referee was incredibly good today, other than not calling that Cohen Bramwell tackle that injured him and left him being carried off on a stretcher. The referee, I'm not going to say was biased towards Luton Town, but he tried to let the game go. The first card wasn't until like the 80th minute. And honestly, I think he missed a ironclad penalty. But swings and roundabouts, we've seen lots of things like the Lincoln goalkeeper who punched himself in the chest, went down, and the goal was disallowed a couple of weeks back. That happens in football. Referees, they're humans, they make mistakes, and at this level, there is no VAR. So things like that, they will tend to get dropped, and that's fine. It's always easier to take when it hasn't cost you anything. So going back to the actual performance, in the middle of the park, we moved the ball around very well. As I said, Blackpool, they sort of sat off. However, it's the final third that is the problem. We don't create enough. And that is what is concerning. The fact that we're not so willing to pass forward between the lines. There aren't runners going beyond, like bending their runs, trying to direct play where they want it, essentially pointing, so I'm going to be there. Okay, slide it through. I would have thought that would have been happening a bit more. Essentially, the only way we really get it into the box are crosses. And it's been like that for a long time. Call it an Alfie Doughty hangover. And now that we got Cohen Bramall, I honestly don't understand why on the training ground or why a stats bod, because, you know, every club has loads of stats bods. Why the stat bod hasn't pointed out, all your chance creation is from crosses. In fact, the goal today came from a absolutely beautiful Joe Johnson cross, and he's really coming onto his own. It's fantastic, and I like the way he sort of moves and feels. It sort of alleviated the need for a actual defensive midfielder, because that was Casey Palmer's position today. Casey Palmer is one of the few people that is actually interested in passing forwards. Some of like his around the corner balls, dinks over the top. We really lost that forward passing with Casey Palmer playing so deep. That is ultimately a problem. You need someone like, hey, just chuck Saville in there and say, Saville, you sit here, you break up the play. I don't think Saville's as bad as everyone is giving him credit for. I don't think he's as bad as everyone is labeling him. Essentially, someone said to me, an older fan, people are expecting him to be Ricky Hill. He isn't Ricky Hill. He's not an all-action defender. He is literally, does what it says on the tin, bog standard defensive midfielder, and we're expecting him to do too much. And that analogy is far more eloquent than what I could have said. We need just to stick him there, not expect him to move anywhere, and break up play. And then you can let your creative players create. Because right now they're being asked to do too much. And by creative players create, I mean forward passes, let them intertwine and run and point where they want the ball. But having Nahki Wells up top by himself, he's getting physically dominated in this division. This isn't the Championship where football plays more of an important role in it. Here it is about physical dominance. Physical dominance of the back line. And Nahki Wells is losing that battle 9.8 times out of 10. And the 0.2 times is when the ball goes over the top and he's like spun off the back of them. He can't win the aerials. He can't win the physical 50-50s. He just can't do it. Maybe having Devante Cole in there, but Devante Cole has to play in a 2. In a 2 with Elijah, that could be a very physical forward line. In a 2 with Ali Al-Hamadi, now that I would like to see, because Ali Al-Hamadi, he is sort of like a, although he hasn't scored for us, I would say he's a more proactive Jerry Yates. Jerry Yates, I never liked his movement. I didn't. And we'll watch with great interest what he can actually do. But I feel Ali Al-Hamadi at this level, because he's young, he's hungry, there's a lot to come from him. I feel him and Devante Cole could be a good pairing. Maybe with Nahki Wells coming on for the last 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and working with Devante Cole or Elijah Adebayo. But there's going to be rotation once he's back. But to be honest, what we can't foresee is that there's going to be injuries. There's always injuries. Right now, the squad is quite thin. It is. And, well, I guess like I can't really talk too much more about the match because not very much happens. I think defensively we were absolutely outstanding, especially when Blackpool started launching balls into the box. Mengi was good. Anderson, you know, when it's just a case of heading balls away and hacking the ball clear, that's his meat and drink. You can't expect him to get the ball down. You can see there have been instructions in the sense for Mads Anderson to sort of be a bit deeper because obviously he hasn't got the legs. He's not fast. And the instructions were just get it to Mengi and let Mengi start the play because we don't trust you, Mads, to actually pass the ball to someone. So all his passes, it'd be interesting if you could see a pass map. I can guarantee all his passes were just to Teden Mengi. Teden Mengi, absolutely tremendous today. And hopefully he sticks around because Chris Makosso is on his way. Well, on his way, he's gone. He's gone to Oxford. And potentially, if they exercise the option to purchase him, then we've made a profit on him. I'd much rather keep a player and realise that. But hey, if we, by some miracle, do manage to get promoted, maybe Makosso will want to come back. But he gets the option to play with Matt Bloomfield, a manager that actually put faith in him. And if Jack liked him, Jack would have been playing him week in, week out. Other players that are potentially on their way, that rumours about Mads Anderson, Marvellous Nakamba potentially mutually terminating his contracts and going to Sheffield Wednesday too. That'd be an interesting one by my conservative, ultra-conservative, back of the fag packet mathematics. I make it since May. We've paid him about 600k in wages. It probably would have been cheaper in the long run if we had mutually terminated in the summer. Because if we're not going to play him, we should have just mutually terminated and we would have saved all those fees, especially with these new financial fair play rules that David Wilkinson talked about in his program notes. But on the whole, I think my man of the match, it's a toss-up between Joe Johnson, Casey Palmer. Jordan Clark, he was functional. It was a well-taken goal. Ball in from Joe Johnson. I think it was a Hickway that sort of cleared it. Sort of half cleared it and he tried to close him down, but Jordan Clark, sweet hit, 2 players closing him down, sweet hit. And a win is a win. Take it all day long, move on to the next one. Bradford is going to be a significantly tougher test than Blackpool because they're actually going to come out and play, and we'll see when a team comes out to play how we can deal with them. Right, should we get some comments? Loads of comments. Good evening, everyone. Wow, loads of people tuned in. Hatter Dave. Evening, Ollie. I think Palmer has the potential to be a standout player in this league. I agree. He is quicker, sharper, more ambitious in what he does than the rest of the team put together. Yeah, he's sort of like... his passing kind of reminds me of what Shandon Baptiste did in his first game pretty much before he got injured. He got that really tasty assist, like those types of passes. Danny Club says, the transfer deadline is 7 p.m. Monday. Well, we're going to go live at 9, so we will just round it up. Ben, Luton Town FC, what's your thoughts on the penalty that wasn't given? I reckon the ref tried to even it up because the Bramble tackle, he balls up. I think it was a pen. I think I said that. It was a solid tackle, but in football these days, I'm surprised it wasn't a card at the very least. Yeah, Phil agrees. No penalty. What? It was a nailed on penalty, Phil. You're too far up, mate. You're like 20 rows behind me. It was 100% a penalty. Yeah, Willow Danger, he agrees. Looked like a pen to me, if I'm honest. Yeah, it was good that it wasn't given. Phil also says, Morris is an enigma. Why doesn't he take his man on when he starts? Only got to the byline once in the first half. Does it numerous times when he comes on the sub. Yeah, all the crosses were coming in down the left-hand side, weren't they? They really were. And yeah, 12 minutes added time. It felt like I was at a Wycombe Wanderers game under Gareth Ainsworth. It was crazy. Yeah, get your man of the match. Get your man of the match comments in. I want to see them. Ben, Luton Town FC says Johnson was man of the match for me. I think that's fair. While you guys all get those in, I'm going to just mention the program notes that were written courtesy of David Wilkinson. So my opinion on this, and this is well documented because of the situation that I've been in with Hatters Heritage. I believe in free speech. Up and down the country, all fans will essentially be giving their opinion. Whether you're Man United, whether you're Aldershot, whether you're... Who's that terrible team where that manager was just sacked? Morecambe? No, not Morecambe. Maybe it is Morecambe. Singh was sacked, right? Yeah. Every fan has an opinion, and they have a right to an opinion, providing it's not racist, downright abusive, or a threat. Okay? Like, and within those, limits, essentially, if your opinion is reasoned and rational and not harmful for anyone or towards anyone, you should be able to make, have an opinion. So David Wilkinson discussed this. He said, on the subject of frustration, we're aware of supporter opinion on individuals' performances, so watch out, they're tracking you online. Both on and off the pitch. We read it, we hear it. We might agree with a lot of it. However, now that's why Jerry Yates has come. However, there's also a lot of unsavoury opinion, especially online, which crosses the line. We have thick skins and been here before. But I would ask you to bear this in mind when getting abusive or personal about our players and staff, especially young ones who need support at this stage of their careers. So, yeah, I see where he's coming from, but ultimately a lot of the opinions, they surround the shoddy recruitment. Essentially, that all the players that we signed from the January transfer window, other than Izzy Jones, Cal Naismith, I guess he counts because he joined on loan and then he came back on a free. They're all gone. Every single person. Millie Ali, he's absolutely living it up with Portsmouth, isn't he? Goal and assist today. Obviously, he just didn't want to play in League One. He announced himself to the scene on the Championship and he wanted to stay in the Championship. That's absolutely fair. And they're just trying to rationalise it, which is quite frustrating. Every manager is going to have his own views on how players fit into their system. While there have been undoubted successes in players who were recruited to play under two previous managers, essentially defending the recruitment, some are just not suited to how Jack wants his team to play, and it's better for their development to move elsewhere to play regular football, even if it is temporarily. So we essentially we sign players and for a manager, and instead of like trying to continue the philosophy that we're trying to do. 'Cause I'm pretty sure Rob Edwards was trying to do this as well, and he was only sacked at the midway through the Championship season, so he was already part way into a window. So essentially, the likes of Ali, Nordos, Asgard, they would have all been players that were fitting this tippy-tappy possession-based philosophy. So essentially, the recruitment staff hasn't changed in this time. So I don't understand why they're saying, oh, yeah, well, you know what, all these players that we signed, or all these players that the recruitment department have identified, they're no good. They're no good for what Jack Wilshere wants to do. Surely it's possession-based. Possession-based is the same as possession-based. So essentially, if you're buying players specifically for a possession-based system, then they should fit into a possession-based system. Am I crazy? Essentially, it feels like excuses to me. It doesn't make them bad signings or bad players or poor signings. And their time may come again with us. So I wonder if Jerry Yates' time will come again with us. They'll build their value, resulting in reinvestment into the squad. Millie Ali has started well as Portsmouth. Ethan Archer and Zach Nelson have gone to fellow League One clubs where they could hurt some of the players around us. Hurt some of the teams around us, not players. I don't condone violence on this pod. Joe Bode, he's gone to Woking, primarily because he couldn't be loaned to another EFL team. I work with Woking guy, and he actually is a season ticket holder and told me Joe Bode scored after 2 minutes and got booked. But it was a good little debut for Joe Bode. This was an interesting one. What is clear is that on the way up, recruitment was a much more pleasant process as you persuade players to join the journey. Surely, aren't we on our way back up? You know, we've even got like little arrows on our away kit going up. Aren't we going straight back up? The damage, the damage our visit to the Premier League has done to us on recruitment is enormous. I don't think anyone fully appreciates the gulf in wages, even now between League One and the Championship, which is only going to widen. Yeah, yikes, right? So Premier League was damaging, wasn't it? More ways than one. Right. More comments from people here. Nothing better than to watch a win on TV in Australia. Balmy 26-degree night with a beer. Yeah, fair play. That does sound pretty good, doesn't it? Highland Hatter, good evening. He says, 3 points the hard way. Yeah. It was a long, hard slog, wasn't it? Peter White, he agrees with me regarding opinions. I'm delighted. Sometimes I make sense. Who would have thought? In 2008, I thought it should have been 8 or 9 minutes. Morris's first touch was awful today. Definitely a pen. Certain that the ref agreed, but played the advantage given the way he reacted to the situation. Yeah, sometimes you dig yourself into a hole and you can't get out of it, really. Peter White, I'm absolutely loving our manager and coaching staff. Once the summer transfer window is upon us, then hopefully we'll see a Jack Wilshere team going forward. Yeah, what if Jack decides to move on or he is poached? Who knows? But obviously he's a big name and lots of people are watching his development with interest. Regarding the transfer window, who knows? I think we're down to 17 senior players now. I believe there are 2 more players coming in. There are 2 more players coming in. Hopefully, if we can get them over the line. So hopefully they're senior pros, and one of them is a right back because Nigel Longwick. We're going to need him as backup in the centre-back region because with Makosso gone, Mengi, who knows if he's going to go. Hopefully he's going to stay because he has actually been absolutely electric these past few weeks. But also because I don't want to see a back line with Cal Mads Anson in it together because that is no pace. Like Mengi and Longwick, I think that could work. I know it's a very young backline, but Mengi's relatively experienced. He's played a lot of games, a lot of football. Even at his young age, I think he's 22, and Longwick's maybe 21. So that is probably the backline I want to see. JJ on the left. Oh God, that is quite a young backline. What's happened to Ruel Walters? That's what I want to know. Where is he? Missing person. Yeah, we need to get a missing person poster out for Ruel Walters. Yeah, Wellin agrees with me. Thought Mengi was good today at breaking out defence with the ball, which is crucial playing this way. Palmer forced the defenders to push forward rather than play it to him like with Walsh. Yeah, that was a problem. That was actually how we conceded against Huddersfield, wasn't it? You know, playing it to Walsh's feet and Anderson missed it. DMC123. If Mengi goes, that's real problems at centre-back. It is, yeah. It's a cataclysmic issue if Mengi goes. Hopefully we can hold on to him. Right now, with these 2 signings, like for me personally, I'd want a right back that's actually going to play and a centre back. But these have to be players that are going to improve the first team squad. We can't have development options like Emilio Lawrence. It's very telling that he hasn't come on in the past couple of games. There's obviously a player in there, but he's obviously been overcoached. That is what they do at Man City. They overcoach. He needs to sort of get the balls to just run at a player, trust in his abilities. But that will come with time. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. It will come. But in my opinion, we've always been quite unlucky with loanees from Man City. Kabore was liked. Personally, I felt we should have got Jack Stacey, in my opinion, because he knows the club and we know his work ethic. And also, he doesn't duck out of challenges at the back stick. And Luke Bolton, the less said about him, the better. I think those are the Man City loanees that we've had in the past. Yeah, well, there you go. Mason Tager says, Jack did say he only wanted players that improve us. Exactly. Right in this window, you got to try and get stronger. You have to leave the window in a better position than you entered it. And to be honest, January transfer windows for us have been absolutely appalling. for the past few years. Last January's window was good, but we did lose players. But I'd say we left it about the same that we entered it, because while I can't remember the players that left us last January, but the additions of Asgard and Ali were excellent. But we did need to freshen up because we were absolutely terrible. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter because all those players are gone now, aren't they? They're all gone. Asgard was gone before the season even kicked off, and Ali never really turned up for League One, did he? His head was left in the Championship. Fair play to him. And hopefully if we do go up, then we can welcome him back in, or he's done a good job with his reputation, and then we can sell him for a lot of money. Who knows? Yeah. Right. I've been going for 30 minutes. Why? It seems all my post matches now, they're all racking up to 30 minutes, because I'm not just talking about my opinion on the match. I do 10 minutes on the match, and I take questions and everything. Just another reminder, we're going to be live with the fan phone in. Get involved. If you're here, get involved. You've got to join the Discord, and then we will add you to the call. So we don't have a fancy studio. We're not Three Counties Radio. But if you join the Discord and then join the fan green room, then we can drag you up into the studio, which online studio is very fancy, and then you can have your say. And we'll also do a fan phone in for deadline day reaction, hopefully to 2 new signings. Who knows who they are, but hopefully they're good ones, and it will complement Devante Cole. And I'm dreaming of a front line of Devante Cole and Elijah Adebayo, and maybe Ali Al-Hamadi fit and in the mix, and just elbows and winning physical battles, the likes that we don't win with Wells and we never won with Yates. So here we go. As always, thank you very much for watching. Remember, phone in Sunday night 9 p.m. Transfer deadline day live 9 p.m. Monday night. Right, everyone, have a great evening. If you're watching this on Sunday morning, have a great rest of the weekend. And most importantly, come on, you Hatters.